The pregnant widow inherited a piano, but it played her husband's last song. This is a true story I never expected to live through in Harpersville, Alabama, just as my world crumbled beneath me in the winter of 2019. The moment I laid my fingers on the yellowed keys of that ancient piano, vibrations whispered in the air, resembling my late husband's voice echoing in the empty room. A mournful plea urging me not to mourn him, but to remember his love instead. The air turned frigid, and it felt as if the very spirits of the house were breathing along with me, shivering at my sorrow. The haunting yet familiar scent of his cologne filled the corners, enveloping my senses in memories too painful to grasp. I was trapped between this world and the next, suspended in his absence. Suddenly, an icy finger traced my spine as the piano began to play by itself, a haunting melody, his last song composed for our unborn child. The notes resonated through the air, weaving a tapestry of love and loss that clawed at the depths of my stomach. I stood paralyzed, grappling with the impossible reality that my husband could somehow still reach me through the keys. Memories of his laughter filled the room, contrasting sharply with the palpable sorrow pressing against my chest. As those haunting notes unfurled like ribbons of shadow, I felt the air shift around me. There was more than just nostalgia here, perhaps a warning lurking beneath the melody, a tether connecting my grief with something sinister. Before I continue, know that the peril of dredging up the past can open doors we aren't prepared to walk through. Just as the haunting notes began to warn, I had to ask myself if I truly wanted to hear the truth behind those melodies, the echoes of a love long lost. What would you choose if the melody of your past could resurrect the love you lost, but at the cost of uncovering a sinister truth? As days turned into nights, I became consumed with the piano's eerie presence, seeking counsel from the whispers it emitted. Shadows danced on the walls as if alive, and the temperature would drop unexpectedly whenever the echoes of his last song filled the air. If I have ever faced something greater than my fears, it was this. Dare I untangle the mystery that intertwined my husband's final days with the music that haunted our home? Each note played out a reminder that I was still tethered to him in ways I couldn't yet comprehend. There was a moment of relief when I reached out to a neighbor, an elderly woman steeped in stories of ghosts and longing, who had the uncanny ability to decipher the melodies I was too afraid to confront. She spoke of lost souls and unfinished business, illuminating the chilling idea that the piano might hold secrets about my husband's death, secrets I feared to pry into. If you've ever felt a presence watching you from empty rooms, you understand the chill that ran through my body that night. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being beckoned into a deeper truth, a labyrinth of emotions I had yet to navigate. One fateful evening, I summoned my courage to address the spirit hidden within the music. I whispered softly into the stillness, "What do you want from me?" The keys responded with discordant cacophony, reverberating through the house, twisting the formerly warm atmosphere into a tempest of emotions. A mother's instinct to protect doesn't just stop at flesh and blood threats. It extends to whatever crosses the boundary between this world and the next. The realization sank in like lead. There were sinister undertones hidden beneath those familiar notes. I was utterly unaware of the true danger that awaited me. As the supernatural revelations unfolded before me, the melody grew more urgent with each passing night. It became a chilling link to memories I had buried and uncomfortable truths I had left unexamined. Echoes of whispers and fleeting visions surged forth. The haunting presence of my husband intertwined with my growing dread. I felt the weight of ghosts pressing against me, and questions hung heavy in the air, unanswered and haunting. In that moment, the local historian's face drained of color when I finally confided in her about the secrets I had been privy to, the warnings layered within the music. "Be careful," she urged, her eyes wide with recognition. "Music can be a bridge, but it can also be a snare." Those words echoed in my mind, intertwining with the very melody that sparked my longing for connection. I knew I was at the precipice of a revelation, stretching deep into the shadows of my past, a past steeped in mystery and love that teetered on the edge of something darker. This was just the beginning, and I was left in shivering anticipation of what awaited me, the understanding that what played from that piano might be more than merely haunting memories. I would soon discover whether it stood as a bridge to the past or a portal to an uncharted danger. As days passed, I found myself sinking deeper into the piano's pull, the strain of grief a constant companion. I was tormented by sleepless nights filled with whispering shadows, and each day seemed to stretch endlessly. I stumbled through the routine of life, but my heart was no longer in the mundane. My husband had always been my anchor, and now, with him gone, I was adrift at sea, with only the eerie piano to cling to in the tempestuous waves of sorrow. Every evening, like clockwork, I returned to that haunting melody that wrapped around me like an old tattered quilt, comforting yet suffocating. The piano became my confessor, and I didn't yet realize that it was also a guide, though sometimes guides led you straight into a labyrinth with no clear way out. The familiar notes danced on air, igniting memories I had tried to suppress, releasing sweet notes alongside the bitterness of regret. My evenings became a ritual. I would sit beneath the dim, flickering light of a solitary lamp, the haunting chords filling the room with an otherworldly aura. The very atmosphere crackled with energy. Each note felt like a conversation, as if my husband was attempting to weave a dialogue through the music that resonated within me. Yet, beneath that sultry bed of melody lay an undercurrent of disquiet, an urgent insistence that something awaited unearthing. Then there were the marks. I had almost grown accustomed to the way the shadows flitted along the walls, but one evening was particularly vivid. The music erupted into an unsettling crescendo, a dissonance that felt heavy with dread. The shadows converged, gathering as dark shapes, coiling around the edges of my vision. I caught something on my arm, a burning sensation that caused me to gasp. As I looked down, I discovered the marks, the outline of tiny fingers as if pressed into the flesh of my skin. The sensation was unnerving, like icy tendrils exploring my darkness. I recoiled instinctively, my heart racing. "Who are you?" I called out, my voice quaking as it sliced through the stillness. The answer came in the form of a gentle lullaby woven into the fabric of the air around me, wrapping my fear in uncertainty. The warmth drained from the room, replaced with a chill that clawed at my bones. It was a message, a warning, and the truth was beginning to take on a darker shade. Days turned into despairing nights. Even the neighbors' stories failed to bring me solace now. I began to realize how intertwined the music was with my husband's final days. The melodies contained layers of truth that shifted beneath the surface, just out of my reach. Each note whispered of regrets, not yet voiced, and final goodbyes, still unspoken. There is a key to understanding this, I told myself one sleepless night. The piano's notes echoing in my mind like psalms of an unwritten history. I have to get to the heart of it. If I didn't expose whatever secrets lay buried beneath the sad lullabies, I feared I would be consumed by despair, swallowed whole by the melancholy of unanswered questions. In a moment of courage, sparked by desperation, I took my phone and began documenting everything. The music, the sensations, the whispering shadows. I shared my encounters with a select few online. Every word, every emotion poured out of me like ink from a pen, chronicling my haunting tale in hopes that someone, somewhere, might offer insight or solace. I needed confirmation that I wasn't alone, that others had traversed similar encounters, extracting meaning from their encounters with the uncanny. Within hours, responses began pouring in, ghost stories echoing my own, illuminating shadows that had threatened to envelop me. It seemed I had stumbled upon a community of souls tethered to their pasts, standing at the crossroads of longing and liberation. Some offered comfort, while others warned me to steer clear of the piano, label it cursed with a malign purpose. Fueled by adrenaline and fear, I realized I couldn't shy away from my exploration. Music, I learned, was not simply a vessel of recollection, it was a call to action. If I wanted to protect my child and make peace with what was left, I had to decipher this otherworldly connection to my husband and discover the truth that lay dormant within the melody. Taking a deep breath, I returned to the piano with renewed resolve. "If you're here," I began, speaking into the silence, "I need your help. I need to understand." As I reached toward the keys, another cold wave washed through the air, raising the hairs on my arms. The piano responded, playing a sequence that felt new yet familiar, a code woven into the fabric of my heart's memory. "What are you trying to tell me?" I implored, fingers poised over the keys. My breath caught in my throat as the echoes of my husband's laughter intertwined with the music, sending shivers of familiarity across my skin. I was stepping deeper into the puzzle, slowly unraveling the entangled threads between love, sorrow, and whatever transcendent truth awaited me at the center of it all. As the melody unfolded once more, I braced myself, the shadows thickening in the corners of the room as I recognized that this would be my moment of reckoning. The notes spiraled wildly, wrapping around my consciousness, a siren song beckoning me to explore the shadows deeply entwined within my heart. As I sat at the piano, the melody began to weave a tapestry of memories, a swirling mix of love and longing that tugged at the corners of my heart. I felt drawn deeper into a trance, the notes flowing like a vibrant stream, carrying with them flashes of my past with my husband. Each chord resonated with unspoken feelings, and the air buzzed with a strange energy that tingled against my skin, wrapping me in a shroud of nostalgia mixed with dread. The atmosphere shifted, thickening with an urgency that felt almost alive. With my eyes closed, the memories unfurled before me. My husband sitting on that bench, his fingers dancing along the keys, crafting melodies that felt like magic. I remembered that last night he had come home late, the way he had smiled at me, but his eyes had held shadows I didn't understand at the time. What was it he had wanted to say? I felt the weight of his unvoiced secrets pressing against me like a heavy fog, leaving me breathless. The piano echoed with an emotion so raw it nearly stole the air from my lungs. I wished I had pressed him harder that night, instead of allowing my fears to keep me silent. "What are you hiding?" I whispered, half to myself, half to the ether. The shadows thickened around me, flickering and swirling as if the very corners of the room answered my call. Suddenly, the music took on a new shape, transforming into a haunting and sorrowful cry. Tension eventually built until the notes exploded like fireworks in the night sky, laden with a sorrow I could feel rippling through my bones. The melody morphed into something urgent, calling out for acknowledgement, pulling me ever closer to whatever hidden truth lay just beneath the surface. In that moment of desperation, I glimpsed a scene unfold. Images coalesced in my mind, my husband and I in our living room, illuminated by the soft glow of firelight. "Promise me you won't ever forget, no matter where life takes us." His voice echoed through time, but his face remained blurred, just out of reach. Why hadn't I pursued him then? Why did I let fear silence my curiosity? The chill in the room deepened, and I felt a ghostly breeze rush through me, casual yet chilling, as if beckoning me toward a revelation. Shadows danced, and I tried to capture their fleeting forms, a presence that seemed to surge closer. I wondered if it was his essence trying to connect, to guide me through the labyrinth we had created together. "Please show me the truth," I pleaded, my heart hammering in my chest. It was then that I felt the room shift, becoming heavier with a sense of impending danger. The melody shifted yet again, a swirling chaos that throbbed with unresolved pain, vibrating deep within my bones and sending tremors through my heart. "What is it you're trying to warn me of?" I asked, desperation lacing my words. The silence hung thick, charged with an energy that made me shudder. I could feel something lurking beneath the surface, a piece of the puzzle I hadn't yet grasped, and I couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't merely memories playing out on the keys. Images of the past pressed in around me. The final moments of my husband's life revealed themselves, fragmented and twisted. He had been hiding something, I was sure of it, something dark that he'd kept closely guarded, perhaps even from himself. But now could be my chance to understand. If only I could unravel the truth buried deep within those haunting notes. Was it your fault? I found myself murmuring, facing the shadows heavy with doubt and hesitation. Though I had long buried my fear, the urgent melody implored me to confront it. The music crescendoed with fervor, responding to my anguish, as the shadows twisted like tendrils, seeking the light of understanding. Desperation gripped me, and I felt tears spill down my cheeks. The piano's sound enveloped me, and all at once it echoed a sorrow that transcended time, a connection to every woman and child who had lost someone they loved. This was more than just my grief, it was a universal lament, and the music became an anthem of longing, mingling with the echoes of my husband's laughter. Then, just as suddenly, silence swallowed the room. Everything halted, the vibrations of the piano hung in the air, leaving the haunting echoes abandoned, yearning for recognition. I realized I had opened a door, one that connected me to my husband in ways I had yet to understand. As I caught my breath, the shadows released their hold on me, leaving behind a bittersweet longing. In that moment, I acknowledged the truth of what I needed, to face those shadows head-on, to unravel the melodies woven into our shared history. Whatever secrets awaited me, I could not turn back. It was time to explore the unknown depths of our love and the truths that had been concealed in the dark. With renewed resolve, I placed my hands back on the keys, each note pulsing eagerly in response, asking me to unearth the hidden pieces of our past. The only direction now was forward, into the very heart of the darkness, where love, secrets, and revelations awaited beneath the surface. As I settled my fingers back on the piano keys, a shiver of anticipation surged through me. The air crackled with energy, as if the piano itself was alive, urging me to unearth the tangled emotions locked within its wooden frame. I closed my eyes, focusing on the sensations pulsing through me, and let the music guide my hand. A haunting melody began to unfurl, a blend of sorrow and hope echoing in the dim light. Each note cascaded like droplets of water, memories flowing with clarity, pulling me deeper into a labyrinth of emotions intertwined with my husband's essence. I felt the familiar warmth of his spirit envelop me, urging me to dive beneath the surface, to confront the depths of love and loss that had shaped our lives. "Show me the truth," I breathed, the words escaping my lips like a mantra. The piano responded, its sound swelling and morphing into a cacophony of lost whispers and hidden truths. The shadows in the room thickened, swirling around me as the music reached an overwhelming crescendo. I felt a presence beside me, solid yet ethereal, channeling energy that washed over me like a wave, compelling me to listen. In a flicker of light, a vision unfolded, a vivid scene from our past. I saw my husband standing in our living room, laughter dancing in his eyes, yet a shadow hung behind him, hinting at unspoken fears. Another figure lurked in the dim corners of the room, indistinct, shrouded in the mist of forgotten memories, whispering secrets that tugged at the edges of my awareness. A knot of anxiety tightened in my stomach as realization seeped in, urging me to wrestle with my own doubts. "Who is she?" I harshly whispered, dread pooling in my heart. The piano responded with a soft yet insistent melody, echoing my question. I was almost afraid to know, but a deep desire to uncover the truth propelled me forward. The music shifted, now spiraling into a delicate waltz that wrapped around me, arms of sound beckoning me to delve deeper. Memories began to unfurl, joyful dances, late-night conversations, stolen kisses, and beneath it all, I sensed an unfamiliar thread weaving its way through the tapestry of our love. I felt torn. Each memory was a double-edged sword, beautiful, yet laden with shadows of doubt. What happened between you? The question hung in the charged air, ringing with urgency. As if in response, the atmosphere grew electric, flickering like a distant storm. The haunting notes echoed with urgency, forming words that reached out to me, indistinct yet impactful. The shadows shifted, their dance revealing glimpses of laughter turned to silence, of unshared burdens stretching between us like an unbreakable chain. "Do you need me to save you?" I implored, desperation vibrating within my chest. The music softened for a moment, allowing me to taste the sweetness of hope before plunging me back into the heavier rhythms of uncertainty. I could feel the melody's heartbeat synchronizing with my own, coaxing me onward through the swirling chaos. The music surged, the keys resonating with passion, as if each beckoned for a truth to surface. A vision flickered. My husband, anxious and restless, caught between two worlds. "Take my hand," he seemed to say, his voice laden with urgency, as I saw him reach toward the shadows, searching for something lost. In that moment, the light shifted, revealing the edges of the unknown. The figure that mirrored my husband was so familiar, yet remained indefinably distant. My breath caught in my throat as realization dawned. Is she the connection? The truth you never revealed? The shadows around me seemed to pulse in response, swirling in a tempest of emotions. The piano suddenly broke into a frantic rhythm, echoing the tumult within me, swirling the air with a mixture of chaos and clarity. I was being pulled into an emotional whirlwind, unearthing layers of unresolved feelings buried beneath the surface. "Why didn't you tell me?" I shouted into the darkness, my heart pounding against the walls of my chest. The winds of sound twisted around me, responding to my cry. The shadows morphed and coalesced, revealing fragments of memories, flickers of moments gone by. Feelings of longing and betrayal entwined, tangling with love and loss. In a kaleidoscope of sound and vision, I was thrust into the heart of his secrets. I felt the warmth of his laughter but heard the echoes of unfulfilled dreams, the weight of untold stories gnawing at the edges of our love. It was then that I grasped how much the absence of truth had trapped us both, caught in webs of misunderstanding, while love lingered in the air between us. As the tension built, I could feel the weight of what had remained unsaid aching in my chest. I recalled the days we spent weaving our lives together, moments filled with joy now fractured by the reality of silent shadows. "This is not just your burden," I murmured. "We are in this together." Taking a deep breath, I pressed my hands back onto the keys, demanding the truth. The piano responded fiercely, the music racing alongside my heartbeat, urging me to confront that which had been concealed. Whatever lurked within our shared experiences, I was ready to face it, together. It was time to illuminate the shadows and bring forth the secrets that lay dormant beneath the surface. As I pressed down on the keys again, the piano erupted into a chorus of sound, a thundering symphony that resonated with the pain and passion I held within. The melody surged forward, lifting me into a wild dance of emotions. Each note was an echo of my husband's essence, drawing memories from the depths of my soul, compelling me to piece together the hidden fragments of our past. The shadows flickered, swirling around me like a tempest, alive with unspoken truths begging to be revealed. I was no longer just an observer. I was entwined in this tapestry, a participant in the story that had been woven between us, his secrets and my longings stitched together with threads of love and regret. "Let me see," I cried out, desperation spilling from my lips. The music intensified, filling the room, sending vibrations coursing through my entire body as the shadows thickened around me. They curled and twisted, beckoning me deeper into the past. I closed my eyes and surrendered to the sound, allowing the piano to guide me. Suddenly, glimpses of memories flickered like distant stars. A table set for two, candlelight dancing in his eyes, his laughter echoing through our shared moments. Then, the shadows danced darkly, hinting at another presence hovering just outside our memories. My heart pounded against my ribcage in the wake of realizations I previously avoided. I was close to finding the truth that had eluded me. "Show me who she is." The words burst forth, and the air crackled with anticipation. The piano responded, each note a heartbeat, steady and urgent. I could feel the room shifting as if reality itself was being rewritten around me. And then it happened. A vision surged forth, unraveling before me like vibrant brushstrokes on canvas. I saw him standing in the doorway of a sunlit room, framed by light that glowed warmly around him. Yet beside him stood the familiar figure, a shape that made my breath catch in my throat. It was a woman with wild, cascading hair and eyes brimming with life. A ghost hovering close enough to touch, yet always just out of reach. It was as if she were woven from the very fabric of his being, a part of his essence he had never been able to let go. The music shifted, morphing into a delicate waltz that portrayed love and longing, each note laced with uncertainty and clarity, all at once. I watched as he shared a secret smile with this woman, an intimacy I had never witnessed before. It tugged at me, twisting my emotions in ways I couldn't have prepared for, as the shadows loomed larger, echoing the tension in my heart. "Who is she?" I whispered, my voice barely audible, lost amid the swell of music. The shadows seemed to murmur in response, flowing around me like mist. The candles flickered, illuminating the faces caught up in their world, and for a moment, I felt transported to that very instant where joy danced untainted by fear. But just as quickly, the scene fragmented, devolving into chaos. I felt my heart twist as I caught sight of his face, flickering with indecision. Was it regret or relief? I pressed forward against the tide of unease, grappling with emotions that sent waves crashing against my heart. The piano surged forward once more, echoing my internal struggle, the melody growing darker. It was then that I understood. This woman represented not just a moment in time, but unheeded desires that had sprouted between us like weeds in a garden left untended. Our love, layered beneath the weight of silence, had been suffocated by unspoken truths. "Does he love you?" I dared to call into the void. The shadows erupted, transforming into a storm of sound and light, the music reverberating through me, amplifying my dread. I could almost hear my husband's voice, soft and cautious, resonating in the air around me. I loved you both in different ways," it seemed to echo back, though whether the words were from the past or present, I couldn't discern. It sent chills racing up my spine. Suddenly, the melody shifted abruptly, echoing a painful cry. "Enough!" I shouted, anger swelling within me. The shadows stilled as I battled against the pain of misplaced trust and disappointment. "You have to show me how we can heal." With those words, the music transformed again, shifting, layering sound upon sound. An invitation, a challenge. It wrapped around me, pulling me deeper into the heart of our story. The room began to pulse with life, revealing a legacy of love that had endured the weight of silence. I saw flickers of my husband's childhood, moments of hope and despair woven together, forming the canvas of a man caught in the pain of unspoken words. I could see iterations of conversations left hanging in the air, choices made and unmade. Each glimpse pulled at the threads of my heart. The music softened, transforming into a gentle rhythm that echoed the heartbeat of love itself. It called for resolution, the moment where love could grow roots and flourish again. "Any secret worth holding must carry the weight of pain," I murmured, my voice steady against the tide of doubt. but it could also be an opportunity for understanding. I sensed the shadows begin to weave together, intertwining moments of our past with a promise for the future. The music lifted, spiraling toward a crescendo filled with hope and purpose, a phoenix rising from the ashes of despair. This was a journey of truth and healing, one that transcended fear and led me toward freeing our entwined hearts. I had the power to not only confront his secrets, but to lift the shroud of pain that lingered between us. All at once, I knew from the depths of my being that love was worth every note, every memory, and every unraveling truth. It was time to embrace our past so we could create a future together, for the shadows no longer needed to define us. As the music swelled, a realization flooded over me. This was more than just a confrontation. It was a call to action, a chance for liberation not only for myself, but for my husband's untold story as well. The shadows, once thick with sorrow, began to dissipate, and in their place, a luminous light emerged, an invitation to unearth the truth that had long remained buried in silence. "Together," I whispered, willing the light to grow. The chords of the piano resonated, the sound cascading like warm sunlight, and the atmosphere shifted yet again, revealing an expansive landscape of memories. My husband's childhood, intertwined with the very fabric of our love story. I felt as if I was walking through a gallery of our souls, each painting rich with emotion and significance. I saw him laughing, a young boy playing freely in sun-drenched fields, the sky above a brilliant blue, untouched by shadows of doubt. With each stride, I stepped further into his world, feeling the innocence and joy radiating through his laughter. It was the type of laughter that transcended time, pure and heartwarming. "This is where it began," I murmured to myself, the heaviness in my heart lightening. But soon the laughter began to fade, replaced by scenes growing dark and turbulent. I watched as life's trials scrawled lines of worry across his young face. I saw his mother, her eyes weary and searching, her spirit trapped beneath the weight of societal expectations and unfulfilled dreams. There was pain and disappointment, interwoven with love. Yet I sensed a flicker of hope struggling to survive in the shadows. "Tell me what you felt," I begged, the music shifting with urgency, pulling me deeper into the emotional labyrinth. The interplay of notes surged again, cascading around me with the force of my husband's suppressed emotions. In a heartbeat, the landscape morphed again. I stood in a dimly lit room, my husband at the center, an anxious young adult wrestling with choices that threatened to shatter the very core of his identity. My heart ached for him. I could feel the intensity of his battle, a war fought quietly, hidden beneath a facade of everyday life. The music spiraled into a frantic tempo, resonating with turmoil. I was swept up in the urgency of each note, feeling the pressure on him to conform, to carry expectations that had been placed neatly on his shoulders long before our love had bloomed. "You didn't have to carry it alone," I cried out, the shadows thickening with intensity. The piano trembled beneath my fingers as I grasped the significance of this moment, the moment where we could break free from the past. I needed to understand not only his pain, but also how we could find a way to heal together. "Reveal the truth," I implored, desperation fueling my desire for clarity. All at once, the music halted, and an eerie stillness filled the room as shadows coalesced into a single figure. It was the female presence again, the mysterious figure from earlier, illuminated in the faint glow of flickering candlelight. She was beautiful and haunting, a reflection of lost potential and dreams unfulfilled. I could feel the remnants of love and longing echoing around us, begging for recognition. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice trembling with urgency. "What part do you play in this story?" She smiled gently, and I felt a profound sadness in her gaze. "I am a part of his past, a choice he made in a time of darkness," she replied softly, her voice weaving through the cadence of the piano. a choice he never fully understood, resulting in the shadows that haunt you both. As her words echoed, the memories rushed forward like a flood, a glimpse of a missed reconnection between them that resonated with both longing and regret. I witnessed moments filled with unacknowledged potential, a doorway that had remained unopened, leaving both hearts yearning for resolution. Each memory was like a piece of music, unplayed, held back, waiting for someone to strike the keys. "Then help us find a way forward," I pleaded, everything within me crying out for understanding. "Help him see that this pain can transform into something beautiful." The room shimmered as an energy crackled in the air, and I could feel the shadows withdraw slightly, softening. "Transformation requires courage," the figure said, her voice now imbued with strength. "It requires stepping into the light of truth and embracing what lies beneath the surface, the fears, the dreams, and the love that remained unexpressed." At her words, I felt a surge of determination. "We can expose the truth together. I won't let the shadows bind us anymore," I vowed, gripping the sides of the piano for stability as the melody began to gain strength, harmonizing with my pledge. With newfound resolve, I played a powerful progression of chords, pouring every ounce of emotion into the keys. The music surged, igniting a fire within me, manifesting my intention to unravel the pain and replace it with understanding. With each note that rose, I felt the shadows drawing back, retreating, as if unable to withstand the passionate proclamation of my love. "Love is strength," I declared, tapping into the depths of the connection we shared. "It has the power to heal, to rise above the fear. We are intertwined through every choice, every haunting memory, and we can transform our story." The shadows began to thin, revealing the deeper hues of joy interspersed with moments of heartache. I could see my husband's face clear once more, captured mid-laughter, the light flickering in his eyes, embodied warmth entwined with the weight of every unspoken truth. "Let us shed the burdens that haunt us," I implored, the music swirling in a robust crescendo around us. "Let us embrace everything we've learned, the shadows, the love, the pain. Only then can we forge a new path forward." In that moment, the air vibrated with possibilities, a testimony to the power of love resonating through every note played. The figure smiled, and as she faded, I felt her energy growing stronger around us, a promise for healing. Together, we could embrace our truth. Our love story was alive, and it was time to rewrite its narrative. The shadows no longer bound us. We would become a symphony of harmonies, a combined blend of hopes, strength, and renewed love. The music swelled, soaring higher as we journeyed into the light, ready to reclaim our future. As the final notes echoed into the ether, a palpable shift filled the room, a reverberation of hope that resonated deeply within me. I felt a warmth enveloping me, a warmth that signified acceptance and understanding, overcoming the tumult of emotions that had once anchored me down. The shadows that had lingered were now but whispers, retreating further into the corners, replaced by the vibrant light of possibility. But beneath this newfound tranquility, a conflict stirred. My heart raced, recognizing that while we had embraced the beauty of our love, the truth still remained. The memories of silence weighed heavily, unaddressed fears interwoven with the bright threads of joy. Can we truly heal without facing the reality of what has come before? I pondered, the uncertainty curling around my thoughts like tendrils of mist. The piano exhaled softly, prompting me to play again, to blend the strands of our story into a single melody, one that echoed both pain and triumph. As my fingers glided across the keys, I hesitated, listening for a response, for direction. The music seemed to respond to my trepidation, enveloping me like a comforting embrace, urging me to delve deeper. And then I remembered. I had promised to confront the truth, to face the lingering shadows. With renewed determination, I played the opening chords of a ballad, a familiar tune that carried the weight of longing and despair. As the notes floated through the air, I felt the atmosphere shift, drawing forth an unseen presence, and I closed my eyes, focusing on the connection that bound us. "What must I do?" I whispered, allowing the music to express my vulnerability. How do we heal from that which has haunted us for so long? I felt an electric silence before the shadows shifted subtly, forming a gentle breeze that rippled through the room, brushing against my skin like whispers filled with warmth and detail. Suddenly, I was thrust back into a vision, a snapshot from that time when we stood on the precipice of darkness, grappling with unsaid words. I could see my husband in distress, troubled by a burden that seemed to twist him inside out. The intense expressions on his face revealed a depth of conflict that he had never shared, and it broke my heart anew to witness it, a reminder of how deeply unresolved emotions could entrap someone. "Why didn't you tell me?" I shouted into the swirling shadows. "You could have shared your fears. Together we could have faced them." The shadows flickered, and an overwhelming sense of sorrow permeated the air, washing over me like an uninvited tide. Suddenly, the piano transformed its tune. A soft, melancholic melody enveloped me, replicating the feeling of yearning, longing, and regret. Echoes of silent, half-formed memories began to merge within that soft music. The faces of friends and family illuminated against the backdrop of despair, each with stories that intertwined with ours. There was his mother, her eyes pleading as if to tell a story that had been left unspoken. There were our friends, shattered by heartache and loss, yet intertwined by the fragility of their connections. "Look," I entreated, my voice steady yet filled with an urgent tremor. "Look how our burdens connect us. We can't be afraid to share our stories, our truths. They unite us even in pain." I felt a surge of energy ripple through the room as the music lifted again in brightness, intertwining the symphony of my pleas with the frayed strings of reality. The shadows grew less ominous, their forms shifting as though they were beginning to materialize into something more tangible, more coherent. "Together we rise," I urged, recalling the vulnerability we shared when we first fell in love, the laughter, the tears, the whispered truths that had once felt so fragile. Every experience, every heartbreak, they are threads woven into the fabric of love. In my mind's eye, I envisioned him, standing amidst the whirlpool of emotions, grappling with the weight of his past while yearning for freedom. "Let me help you find your voice, my love." I cried out once more, the power of the music fueling my resolve. As I wielded my fingers over the keyboard, I summoned forth a crescendo filled with passionate longing, a call for unity beneath the shadow's grip. The internal battlefield of the light and dark echoed in the music that danced between us, sparking my husband's spirit to awaken. Light shone brightly through the darkness like morning breaking over the horizon. His face emerged, illuminated by clarity, defining the hidden truths behind his silence. In an instant, I recognized the look on his face. It was the determination to confront his fears. "I am ready," he seemed to say. "Are you ready?" I pressed, merging our emotions further into the rhythm of the narrative, where hope embraced possibility. With each note, I could feel the atmosphere shifting, charged with a resolve that united our souls. We can discover joy in our love, free of burdens. The climax radiated from the keys, brilliance pouring forth like light conquering shadow. The music summoned echoes of his laughter that had once been dampened by sadness, allowing it to resonate within the essence of everything we had endured. Each note a reminder that while the road to understanding isn't easy, it was simply a journey worth taking together. As the final chords surged through the room, we stood united in our vulnerability, a testimony to the complexities of love. "Love can conquer all," I murmured, my heart swelling with the knowledge that we could emerge stronger on the other side. In that moment, the shadows danced one last time, twisting in acceptance and celebration of our growth. And I knew, with every ounce of certainty, the path before us would no longer be overshadowed by fear, but rather illuminated by the strength of the truth we now embraced, a rhythm that would guide us toward healing. The future awaited, filled with possibility, a journey written with love, and I felt ready to begin. As the final notes reverberated through the room, a profound silence enveloped us, a quiet that held the weight of realization and the sweetness of hope. The shadows, once formidable, had gracefully receded, replaced by a warm glow that filled every corner of our space. I could feel my heartbeat steadying, a calmness spreading, soothing the remnants of anxiety as it mixed with the thrill of newfound possibilities. Together, we created this moment, I whispered, turning to him, seeking his gaze. There was a lightness in the air that sparked my courage, urging me to bridge the final gaps that had separated us for too long. He stepped closer, the distance between us dissolving like the shadows themselves, and his eyes reflected myriad emotions, relief, love, and the fervent spark of determination. "It's time for us to own our truth," I said softly, reaching for his hand. He took it, warmth radiating from our connection. "We have faced the darkness together. Now let's walk towards the light." In that moment of clarity, I felt the strength that came from acknowledging not only our vulnerabilities, but also our resilience. Love had always been there, woven through our shared experiences, even the painful ones. "No more hiding," I affirmed, my voice resonating with newfound strength. As we stood hand in hand, memories of our journey flooded my mind, a collage of laughter, tears, and whispered secrets. Each moment had led us here, and in that intimacy, I grasped the true power of love. It wasn't just about the joy, it was equally about the trials that forged a deeper bond between us. "Let's not allow regret to linger anymore," he said, his voice steady, but laced with vulnerability. I felt so alone in my silence for too long. His admission hung in the air, a pivotal moment that elevated our dialogue from mere words to a healing exchange. "Then let's share our burdens," I proposed, squeezing his hand gently. "Let's go beyond apologies and explore the emotions that have held us captive. I'm here, always." With a resolve that transcended the frailty of fear, we ventured into the depths of each other's hearts, peeling back layers of pain to reveal the rawness beneath. Each story shared became a stone laid in the foundation of trust. "I used to think I could shield you from my struggles," he confessed, but I could see the weight of that acknowledgement lighten his spirit. "And I thought I could carry the love alone," I replied, eyes shimmering with unshed tears. Love requires sharing every part of ourselves, even the broken pieces. As we explored the intricacies of our fears, the shadows that had masked our truths, an incredible transformation unfolded. I sensed a surge of energy pulsing between us, lifting the weight of guilt and regret, allowing space for acceptance and empathy. The piano lingered in the background, a silent witness to our journey, as if it too breathed life into our confessions. Our fears transformed into dialogues, pieces of ourselves laid bare, inviting healing. Moments of laughter punctuated the sincerity of our conversations, breathing light into the shadows. "Remember that silly argument over the last piece of cake?" I chuckled, and he joined in, a smile brightening his face. "That was ridiculous," he laughed, the sound reverberating joyfully, banishing the lingering shadows. "But it's those small things, the little joys that remind me of why I fell in love with you." "I need to hear you say it," I encouraged, a playful challenge rippling through our shared laughter. "Tell me you love me, truly, deeply." With sincerity etching lines on his face, he cupped my cheeks in his hands. "I love you. I always have, and I always will." regardless of the shadows or the silence that once loomed over us. Tears spilled forth, not of sorrow, but of release. They became glistening tokens of our rebirth, each drop an affirmation of the love we cherished despite the storms we had weathered. "We are no longer defined by our fears," I murmured, breathless. "We've transformed them into strengths." The room came alive with renewed purpose. The shadows of our past faded, leaving behind a luminous path stretching before us, a future ablaze with potential. "Let's walk this journey together," he whispered, an offering of commitment echoing in each shared heartbeat. As we stepped forward, our hands intertwined, I felt the symphony of hope resonate through us, a melody that would carry us into the embracing arms of tomorrow. The darkness had not extinguished our love. It had shaped it, strengthened it. And now, with clarity, we reclaimed our narrative, stepping boldly toward the light. "A new beginning," I sighed, feeling lighter than air. "Together, we make our own story." And as our hearts harmonized, I knew in that moment that love would guide us always, illuminating even the darkest paths, forever steering us home. With our fingers still intertwined, we took tentative steps away from the remnants of our shadows, and each step created a ripple of energy that vibrated with newfound hope. The air sparkled as if it were infused with a sense of possibility, resonating with the harmony we crafted through our vulnerability. I could almost hear a soft melody weaving through the atmosphere, a score to accompany our pilgrimage towards healing. In the coming days, we breathed life into our journey of rediscovery, allowing love to guide us. Every evening, we set aside moments to share, not just about our days, but about our fears, dreams, and everything that had gone unspoken. We went for walks under the starlit sky, the cool breeze kissing our skin as we clung to the warmth of each other's company. "Do you remember the time we tried to cook dinner together?" he asked one night, laughter bubbling within our shared space. "How could I forget?" I replied, playfully nudging him. "The kitchen looked like a war zone by the time we were done." "I think we ended up ordering takeout," he chuckled. "But those moments are the ones that paint our love story with color." Every memory we shared seemed to weave a tapestry, a collection of moments that reminded us of the joyous and sometimes chaotic nature of love. The laughter lingered, serving as a balm to the scars that had previously dimmed our flame. But amid our rediscovery, a lingering question tickled the edges of my mind. What about the fears we never shared, the shadows that still lurk beneath the surface? He paused, contemplating as the laughter faded into a thoughtful silence. "You're right. It's easy to get lost in the sweetness of rediscovery. But facing our fears is equally important," he said, his brows furrowing slightly. "We have to be brave," I encouraged, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Brave enough to speak the unspeakable." That night, we settled on the couch, dim light from a single lamp cocooning us in tranquility. "Let's talk about the things we've been avoiding," I suggested softly. "No more pretending." He inhaled deeply, the sounds of our hearts mingling with the silence of our home. "I think I've been afraid of burdening you with my struggles," he finally confessed, voice barely above a whisper. "There were times I felt lost and didn't know how to find my way back." My pulse quickened as I listened. I had felt it too, that sense of being untethered, drifting through moments without anchoring. "I wanted to be your rock," he continued, "but I feared I was falling apart while trying to hold it all together." "You've never been a burden to me," I assured him, urgency in my tone. "In fact, sharing those struggles only strengthens the bond we share. We can't navigate these waters of life alone. I'll always be here to share your burdens." His eyes flickered with emotion, gratitude mingling with doubt. "It's daunting. What if my truths scare you away? Or what if they bring us even closer?" I countered gently, taking his hand, intertwining our fingers. "This is what love is. It brings us strength to confront the fears cloaked in shadows. We surrendered to the silence, letting our hearts take the lead. One by one, he shared his fears, the insecurities that had echoed through his thoughts, the doubts that had threaded their way into his beliefs, and the dreams that felt deferred. With each revelation, I held him close, my heart a fierce drumbeat of solidarity as he laid bare his soul. "I fear I'll never be enough," he admitted, eyes glimmering with unshed tears. "That no matter how hard I try, nothing will ever change." "Those thoughts are lies," I replied fervently, yearning to quell his fears. "Your worth is not measured by your struggles. You are remarkable just as you are. You've taught me resilience. You've shown me the beauty of vulnerability." As the shadows parted between us, the warmth of understanding infused the room. He nodded, accepting my words as they settled into his spirit. "You make me feel seen, and that gives me the courage to unearth the buried pieces of myself." Our truths coalesced in the space before us, knitting a fabric of connection that felt invincible. I could sense the currents of trust amplifying, the shadows dispersing in the light of our shared vulnerability. Love pulsed around us, igniting a renewal we had long yearned for. "I think this is our true beginning," I said softly, echoing the promise of a future we would build together, brick by brick, word by word, laugh by laugh. Together, we will face everything in love and honesty. Embracing the newfound freedom, we immersed ourselves in this transformation, ensuring that each fear expressed became a stepping stone toward healing. With each shared truth, we crafted a sanctuary, an impenetrable fortress fortified by love and acceptance, ready to withstand any storm that might come our way. In that sacred space, I realized that love was more than just a feeling. It was a commitment, a promise to grow, to support, and to navigate life's twists hand in hand. As the future beckoned us forward, we were ready to dance to the rhythm of our hearts, secure in the knowledge that together we had the strength to face anything. With the dawn of our new chapter upon us, we ventured into the world with renewed purpose, hand in hand. The past became a tapestry woven with our most cherished memories, the colors of love, healing, and understanding mingling beautifully. We decided to take a weekend trip to the lake, a place rich with fond memories from brighter times. As we arrived, the sun painted the landscape in brilliant golden hues, shimmering on the water's surface, welcoming us into its embrace. The gentle lapping of the waves provided a soothing soundtrack to our souls. We laid down a vibrant blanket on the soft grass and unpacked a small picnic. "Let's make new memories," he suggested with a warm smile, a beacon of hope radiating from him. I reached for a notebook, an idea bubbling to the surface. "How about we write down things we're grateful for?" I proposed, wanting to fill this space with acknowledgement of our journey. "That sounds perfect," he agreed, his excitement infectious. We began writing our gratitudes, drawing inspiration from our hearts. "I'm grateful for forgiveness," I admitted, looking into his eyes with sincerity, "for the journey that brought us closer and the love that has only grown despite our struggles." He nodded, his brow furrowing in thought. "I'm grateful for your strength. You bring light into my darkest moments." As we shared our lists, the air thickened with warmth. Each expression of gratitude felt like a buoy, lifting us from the depths of worry and fear. With every word, we became more intertwined, crafting a tapestry rich with sincerity. "Let's make a promise," I suggested after we finished, wanting to solidify this moment. "A commitment to carry this gratitude with us, wherever life leads." He raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What kind of promise?" "To remind each other of our strength, especially when doubts dare to return," I explained. "I love that idea," he said, determination etching his features. "We can create a space in our lives to share our gratitude every day, no matter how small." As daylight started to fade, a quiet peace settled between us. We clasped hands tightly, intertwining our promises in an unbreakable bond. The past was a shadow fading away, and I felt invigorated by the warmth blooming within us. As the sun dipped below the horizon, hues of orange and purple painted the sky, wrapping us in nature's embrace. "Look at the sky," I remarked, feeling the tranquility wash over us. "It's just like us. Each hue supports the other, creating something beautiful." "Every silhouette tells a story," he said, gazing at the sky, tension melting from his shoulders. "And together, we're writing ours." We spent the evening exchanging stories, laughter echoing into the darkening night, building the fire and allowing the flames to dance between us. The warmth radiated, tangibly connecting our spirits, igniting every ember of our shared journey. "I never thought we'd be here again," I finally admitted, the honesty stirring within me. "Sharing this peace together." "Thank you for believing in me," he replied, sincerity lacing every word. "For not letting the darkness claim my light. You inspire me to embrace every part of myself," I said, leaning closer as the fire crackled. With a sense of renewal blooming in our hearts, we recognized that our love had transformed. It was a guide, illuminating the darkest paths and inviting us to step boldly into the future together. We made a pact that night, a commitment to cherish each moment, to be thoughtful versus reactive, and to face whatever came with love and understanding. As the stars twinkled overhead, I knew that the journey ahead would be filled with unexpected twists, but together we would face them all. In the flickering firelight, I realized this commitment was a choice we would make daily, one rooted in appreciation, love, and growth. As we closed our eyes and soaked in the moment, we felt the profound truth within our hearts. We had all we needed to create a beautiful journey together, bolstered by love's unwavering strength.